listening to the Offbeat Business Show, rebuilding American business influence locally, nationally, and abroad, bringing you experienced insight for a strong, influential brand and successful life in business. Here's your host, Susan Hamilton.
Well, hello there. You're watching Offbeat Business TV. I'm your host, Susan Hamilton, where we bring you information you need, American business owners. We represent you. 80% of American business owners tend to be family-owned businesses of 9 employees or less. It means we're building our businesses while we're raising our kids, taking care of our parents. We probably have a veteran in our family or workspace, and over 30% of us have an addict in our family or workspace. And life for us is very different. Those things have been going on a long time. But today's legislative environment makes it very difficult to separate your life and business issues for the majority of American businesses today. So we want to bring you the authentic voice of American business. And today, along that vein, I'm speaking with Jeff Bickerstaff of the Bickerstaff Agency over in Saxe, Texas. How you doing, Jeff?
I'm doing good, Susan. Nice to see you again.
Wonderful. Wonderful to have you here today because insurance, yeah, it's a thing.
It is.
It is a thing. And I really love your approach to the community and to the neighborhood with your business, because I don't think we're really going to make the difference that we need to make if we don't. So I think it sets a great example, if I can just commend you on that to begin with.
Thank you very much. You know, insurance is a dirty word to some people. It's one of those things that you want to not ever have to use, but you need to buy. But it's so much more than that. It's about, with any business owner, it's about relationships. And if you can't connect with your customers and figure out what their needs are, then you're not going to be successful. What I have found is that if you take the time, everybody's needs are different, and there's no boilerplate for that. And so if you take the time to know your clients, you're going to be successful. But more important than that, what is best for them? How are you serving those clients? And you really don't know how to do that unless you get to know them. And that's what we try to do at our agency. Man,
that's exactly right. You know, you and I were talking just a couple of weeks ago, and you were sharing some experiences from people that you know. And it was like, wow, it hurts, you know, your heart. You got a heart and soul for your community.
Right.
And to really be a great ambassador. So tell us, do you mind conveying some of those stories? Are they private?
No. There's nothing private about me, I would say.
Good.
Well, you know, we hear a lot about, just like today, digital media, social media, and things like that. Now, I have to say, I'm very passionate about the weather, so I'm a certified storm spotter. And so I give a Facebook update whenever there's severe weather possible. And I get a lot of followers because of that, because let's face it, most people are interested in the weather.
It's a great approach.
And especially with the tornadoes we see and the big hailstorm we had last year. Yeah. But this past episode of severe weather that luckily didn't hit Saxe too hard, but some other parts of the Metroplex, I got an instant message on Facebook. And it was from one of my followers that I've seen make comments before, ask questions. She didn't ask about the weather. She asked about life insurance. And I got to talking to her, and she said, "Jeff, do you sell life insurance?" And I said, "I do." I got to talking to her, and she's a breast cancer survivor. And so she's 2 years clean, fortunately for her. But she had called some other agencies and some other companies, and they said, "Well, we will not talk to you until you're 5 years out, 10 years out." And nationwide, luckily, the way I feel is we don't have any kind of time-sensitive restrictions. And so I did tell her, I said, "You know what, we can explore something for you." You could hear it over the message app.
Yeah.
You know how relieved and you know, she thought that it was maybe a chance that she could do something.
Yeah.
And I walked her through the process. I ended up going up to her house, talking to her. We filled out an application, and I talked to my underwriter and I said, "Hey, here's the situation. I just need to know up front if this is possible." She said, "It is possible. We do have a simplified policy that we can do. It's not a whole lot. It's more of a burial policy, $25,000." And we were ultimately able to get that for her. And she was just so appreciative and thankful, almost in tears, that she felt like that if something were to happen to her, she could take care of her family. She did have a reoccurrence. And it's just a great story. You know, brings you to tears, really. And she just said, nobody has taken the time to come to my house and talk to me. The only interest I got before were, yeah, sorry, we just can't help.
Wow, so she's kind of looked at, in her mind anyway, that I've gone through this terrible trauma, and now unless I'm I am a customer, right? Unless
Right.
I'm pre-qualified in somebody's mind, I no longer matter. I'll tell you what, Jeff, that's one of the reasons I love talking about issues like insurance, like IT, things that a lot of business talk shows are not talking about, because we've got to get we've got to get that to change. And I don't think we can change that without being able to leverage the art of the conversation and bring this type of stuff right there where they need to see it. So, those are the conversations people are having today. They're talking about healthcare, they're talking about taxation, they're talking about the Veterans Administration and criminal justice. So if we can help shine up what they're doing in business and give them that hope, there's coaches all over, business coaches that spend a whole lot of time talking about the you can do it, right? And people spend thousands and thousands of dollars on that, sometimes monthly, to make sure they get that push. When it's really could be something as simple as, man, was I able to take care of the needs of my family by doing something simple? So I think that's huge.
Well, in the cornerstone of our business is transfer of risk. That whatever you're talking about. And in the example I gave, obviously, if something were to happen to her, that risk would be taken on by Nationwide to help pay for her expenses. But we're focused on small business owners, and that's a lot of times what we want to talk about. And we want business owners to run their business and not have to worry about risk. And you've had some other guests talk about whether it's security, things like that. We even have coverages that can help you with that. If you happen to be hacked, if you happen to be, have some information stolen, if you don't have that proper cyber coverage, cyber insurance, then that financial cost is going to come back on you.
It's huge. I mean, when you could do something about it.
You could do something. You could, as I always kind of jokingly say, you can let Nationwide write that check, not you. And it goes to so many other things. I was working with a florist just a couple of weeks ago, and she has 4 employees. So, the classic American tale of someone that started her own business, has grown it over the years. She's very well known in the community because she makes homecoming moms. Everybody loves her. She does a great job. When I was talking to her through a mutual friend, it was the same thing. I said, well, what kind of computer system are you using to take your orders and things like that? And she told me, and let's be honest, didn't know a whole lot about it, but I did know that it's vulnerable.
Yeah.
And she didn't even know that you could buy coverage like that. And so I said, yeah.
There's a lot of stuff we just don't know because we're busy in the hamster wheel of our business.
Right.
Most of us are. And that's just the environment we are. I don't know why we think we have to wear the badge of busy, but you do. And we gotta kind of back up a little bit and leverage those resources so we don't have to do that.
Well, and as a business owner myself, I completely get it. Whether you're a florist, whether you're a dry cleaner, whether you're a computer consultant, when you come into the office every day, your mind's not about something bad's going to happen. You're about trying to grow your business and things like that. Well, your insurance agent, you should have just as good a relationship with him or her as you do with your CPA, as with your doctor. Someone that has professional experience in that particular field. And as a business owner, if you have to constantly worry in the back of your mind about, well, I know I need this and I'll just do that tomorrow. Well, we all know what happens sometimes when you do that is that it may be too late. If you have that cyber intrusion, if you have, a theft, so where you think, well, theft coverage is pretty expensive. I got a pretty good lock on my door. I got a pretty good alarm system, and I think I'll hold off on that. That's where we come in, and we're your consultant. We're your risk manager a lot of times to say, here's some things you need to think about. This is what we do. This is what our expertise is. So you don't have to worry about that. If you're going to be a successful business owner, then you don't need to worry about those things.
But the thing of it is, your approach, what I feel your approach is very much consultancy.
Absolutely.
You make sure you come alongside someone and help them see maybe what they're not seeing. You're not waiting for me to call you.
No, exactly right.
You're not waiting for all those ducks to be in a row. Right. And let's see, this quarter we're talking about life insurance, and this quarter we're talking, and you kind of get to where you recognize those pushes, which actually corporately and a lot of other insurance companies is the way they do things.
They do, and a lot of times you'll talk to some other insurance professionals, agents, and I can go in there and I could beat that premium. And you hear that so much, and that's such the opposite approach.
Is that what we want?
No, I mean, you may think you want that, and it may sound great, but it's the old adage my mom told me: you get what you pay for. And a lot of times, in order to get that lower premium, you're not going to get all the coverages you think you need. And if you're happy, if you're just selling on price and someone comes in and says, hey, I could beat that. If you get the customer yourself, and then when it comes up for renewal, someone else is $1 cheaper than you, what are they going to do? It's all they're concerned about is price. So it's about building relationships. The best customers I have are the ones that took 3 months, 4 months, sometimes 6 months, and one took a year to actually get a relationship with them, mature to where they actually were very comfortable because they knew what I was about. We have a saying in our agency that it's not what's best for us, it's what's best for you.
And that's excellent. Are you enjoying this conversation with Jeff as much as I am? Friends, we're going to take a short break and hear from our sponsors, and when we get back, we're going to keep talking with Jeff about some of the other things that he's doing in the community that make Bickerstaff Insurance Agency totally rock. You're watching Offbeat Business TV.
The American business economy is positioned as it has never been before. Professional videography is a core element for attracting a higher level of engagement with the people group you need for significant impact. Now is your time to shine. My name is Bill Brock, owner of White Rock Films, and I invite you to a powerful opportunity in the marketplace, an opportunity to draw excited people to your events, an opportunity to showcase your ideas on infrastructure, an opportunity to become known as the industry authority and enjoy the associated benefits of a strong, influential brand. Video highlights, video teaches. Video puts a resistant market at ease, and video stirs the hearts and imaginations of your allies and strategic client base. White Rock Films offers full audio, video production for businesses ready to embrace the future, handling your project with professionalism, experience, and polish unheard of in the industry. My name is Bill Brock, and White Rock Films wants your business. See us online at whiterockfilms.com.
We're back. You're watching Offbeat Business TV. I'm your host, Susan Hamilton, talking with Jeff Bickerstaff today of the Bickerstaff Insurance Agency. And we're talking about insurance and all the things that matter. And you were talking about how important it is to really build those relationships. That you mentioned something that, once again, our programming, we're about 50 to 65% any given day business coaching. We want to inspire American businesses to get excited about what they're doing. And so I hear a lot of those things, and something that you said is something that is really, that's a coachable moment. You get what you pay for. And when we hear insurance, when we hear that coming from insurance, a lot of times there's a skepticism there because, and the thing of it is, it's true. Any of you business owners do know that's true because you're excellent at what you do. You're the best at what you do. And if you're not, there's a problem because there is no marketing for someone who's just not quite as good as the other guy. We've got to embrace our best, right? And when you do, you recognize that other people doing the same things. How do you differentiate that? Well, you're going to get what you pay for. You understand that phrase in any other aspect of your business. And in your own services and products.
Right, and it's to say, I tell people all the time, and I do a lot of speaking to groups, and since I'm a storm chaser, I kind of tie, your something as simple as your auto and homeowners insurance coverage. Well, how would that cover you in a natural disaster? And unfortunately, we've had a lot of situations like that the last couple of years. But when I'm talking to groups, it's the same thing. Would you go to your doctor? Because again, people unfortunately associate insurance just with, hey, how can I get it the least expensive? But would you go to your doctor and say, hey, doc, can you just do the bare bones for me here? I'm not really feeling well, but I don't really want to spend a lot of money. So can you just give me the cheapest version you got? Of course you wouldn't do that. And it's the same thing with your CPA. Hey guys, I don't really want to pay a lot of taxes this year. So can you finagle that a little bit and make sure it's just the least expensive tax bill I can have? Of course you wouldn't, because what are you risking there? Well, in the tax case, you may be risking jail, but it's the same thing. I tell clients all the time, you shouldn't take that approach with anything. Insurance especially, because the number one concern at our agency is our clients' financial well-being. Now, how do you differentiate that? How do you separate that? It's your financial well-being today and your financial well-being in the future. Today, do you have the proper coverages? What risk are you transferring to us? Everything from just simple liability to your property, things like that. But in the future, on the personal side, we talked about life insurance. Mm-hmm. When you do pass away, and we are going to pass away at some point, and who's going to take that risk on? Is that going to be your family? And all the money that they've saved and worked hard for their whole life, is that going to be what pays for that? And then also too, even if you're not with us, extended care and chronic illness.
Those are biggies.
Those are biggies.
Those are biggies today, especially. We are really putting our elderly through a lot of medication and a lot of aftercare.
My dad is recovering from a stroke not too long ago, and our family is dealing with that. But there's things you could do today to leverage the cost of long-term care and extended care today. And it's just like your deductible versus what you're going to pay out. It's a fraction of the cost to purchase that type of insurance to where what you're going to have to pay out in the future. Because with long-term care, for example, it's going to be paid for. It's just who is going to pay for it. Is it going to be the retirement, the things you've worked your whole life for, to have a great retirement? If you don't have another means to pay for that, another long-term care insurance policy, for example, then your retirement will pay for that.
If you are designing and growing your business to support generations, if you are looking, if you've done some cessation planning, if you're in the process of transferring what's going on with your company to the next generations and getting that all set up, those are huge issues, because without the right information in place, without the right policies in place, you can really end up in a spot where all the effort you went to build this wonderful, beautiful thing to pass on now has become this huge burden, and that's not what you want. You really do want to have those things taken care of.
And nobody likes to talk about those things.
No.
That's why even in our industry, some agents really have a hard time talking about life insurance, even though that's what we do, is because let's face it, we want to think about living and all the good things, but it's just a conversation you have to have. And even people that have life insurance currently, I'm reminded of a story a few years ago to where I was talking to a family, and the husband in the family had insurance and had life insurance. And I always like to say, how long have you had it? Just because you don't know if it's a good policy or not. And long story short, he had an annual renewable term, which basically means that the premium did go up every year. Nowadays with term policies, they're pretty much flat premiums the whole life of the policy. And we ended up getting him about double what his death benefit was for about $50 less a month.
Yeah, who wouldn't like to save $50 a month? That's good to know.
And sadly, 6 months later, he was diagnosed with brain cancer, and he did ultimately pass away about a year after we did that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But here's the thing. His wife, he had about $200,000 with the old policies. We were able to get him about $450,000. And his wife was able to pay off her house and move to where she wanted to move. And so it's like I said, it's not a fun subject to talk about, but it's so important to talk about.
No, but shifting gears, sir, let's talk about some fun stuff.
Okay, yeah.
Because you're doing some really great things in Saxe, and it's not your only experience, because you have run for council and been involved in city government from Richardson to Forney to, I believe, in Murphy as well.
Yes.
You've just really been everywhere, and I love your heart to be a public servant and to make sure that you exist in those places. And you didn't just do that for business. That was well before the Bickerstaff agency.
That's correct.
You did that because you understand your place in the community, and you know that you can bring some management to bear. Good for you, sir. Yeah,
it goes back to I was a city planner, a proud graduate of A&M, and I just felt like that how can I help? It's always been about serving. I'm a Rotarian. Our motto is service above self.
Yes.
I've always tried to do that. And even when I was in city government for 17 years, we helped manage the development and growth of cities in an orderly fashion. We like our neighborhoods, and we don't want to live next to a smelting plant. We want to live in a cohesive neighborhood, but there's ways to do that. And so whether we were assisting the big developer or whether we were assisting the resident that just needed help building a shed in his backyard, that's what I love doing. God had a different path for me about 6 years ago. And so with that, I thought, how can I continue to serve the community? And I thought, for years and years as a staff person, I dealt with city councils from a staff standpoint. The old joke is that we make a report and we ask them to do something at council. But we don't have a say in that. We just kind of ask and we kind of hope that they say yes.
Okay.
So I thought, when God put me on this insurance path, I thought, hey, you know what? I think it'd be kind of fun to still get to serve the community, but I actually get to say yes or no. And so back in 2013, I decided to run for city council in Saxe. I was fortunate enough not to have an opponent, and so that's the best way to win an election, is not have an opponent. And then I just got reelected last year to serve a second term, 3-year term with Saxe. But again, it's how can you help the community? We don't get paid. I don't hope anybody would do it for that, but I get the phone calls, I get the emails, and it's all part of it, and some people could take a real cynical view of that. If you did, I don't know why you would run anyway, because you know what you're signing up for, but I just get such a great pleasure in serving the community, because you get to make a decision on how your future of your community will look. And, I'm one of 7 people, but you just can't beat that feeling. It's hard to describe. It's a lot of work, but I really enjoy giving back to the community.
I love it. I love your attitude about that, because you get to see it grow, you get to see it change, and you get to have your hands in it. And, really, my dad had a saying too. And my dad used to say, you can't complain about who's elected if you haven't bothered voting.
Yes.
And so that's really along the same lines. You got to participate. And I'll tell you what, if you don't, someone else is going to be making decisions.
No, they are. And I always encourage everybody to, it's so easy, and I get it. It's so easy to complain and why are they doing this and why are they doing that? But if you just take a moment and think, okay, it's not even so much, hey, I can do it better than those guys, but how can I help make a difference? How can I be involved at Saxe? We have plenty of boards and commissions. We ask our residents all the time, hey, come volunteer for that. Kind of get your feet wet, and it may be something you really love.
Yeah, because then they're associated with the issues. Then they understand really what the question is, because a lot of times the public understands what's going on in a very different perspective. They don't realize what you're dealing with on the other side behind the curtain, Yes.
And that's probably the biggest comment we get is whenever a new councilman comes on, wow, I didn't know we had to deal with this, and now I kind of know why you made this decision.
Now it's all starting to make sense to me.
But God's blessed me with so many great things with my family and talents that they have, and the thing that I always think about every day is I think about, okay, God didn't give me these talents to just sit back and not do anything, but you know what? You have to do things that you're not comfortable with in order to grow.
No, but a lot of people would look at a busy life as an agency owner with a staff and children and a wife and property and go, how on earth do you have time to do that?
Right.
And we have a lot of people in our communities that are really not stepping up and realizing, well, this is what it looks like to be in business and community, is to play your part, play that role in spite of your life, and along with it.
Well, my lovely wife, she a lot of times she'll ask me, you go into another meeting? And I say yes, but in the big picture of things, we're making a difference. And you're right. I do the band announcing for my daughter's high school band on Friday nights, and I do this. I can name off a bunch of stuff. And you're right. You think someone else might think I can't do that, but yes, you can do that.
You can support your community and support your kids.
Yeah. And you can be a small business owner, and you can help the community that way. And like I said, I try to do as much public speaking as I can, just because it's another way to give back, and I've been blessed to where it doesn't scare me. One of my good buddies was telling me the other day he'd rather jump out of an airplane than get in front of somebody to talk, and I said, well, I'll take your place every time to talk if that's the case.
I love that, and I'm really grateful that you decided to spend a little bit of your day with us and to share your message with our valuable audience. Thank you so much for that,
wonderful.
Jeff.
Yeah, I had a great time.
Good. Jeff, how can our audience reach you if they want to know more about you, whether it's for speaking or maybe you've piqued some interest here with some insurance? Yeah,
absolutely. Well, my website is www.nationwide.com/Bickerstaff. And then I email jeff.bickerstaff@nationwide.com. If you could probably reach me that way for anything, but if you want to reach me for public speaking or anything like that, it's jeff@bickerstaffins.com. That's my other insurance email that I use for insurance and other things.
Now tell me, did you put that in your membership directory?
I think I need to update that one.
Okay, so we're going to fix that and make sure, because friends, Jeff Bickerstaff and the Bickerstaff Agency are members of the Offbeat Business Alliance, and you can find that information in our app, in the Offbeat Business app. So you should be able to easily communicate, easily connect with him on social media, and give him a review. Tell him what a great job he's doing. We value you so much. It's been really a wonderful, wonderful opportunity to record these conversations and share them with you. Know that you can find our lineup, our TV, our radio, everything that's going on with OBBM and our event and sponsor information at offbeatbusiness.com.
You've been listening to the Offbeat Business Show. Find our lineup, podcast, magazine, event calendar, and sponsor information, even our membership directory, all available on the Offbeat Business app or at offbeatbusiness.com. Download the Offbeat Business app today.
Take this for me, but